What's up guys, this is Ray and today I have a special video for you guys. This video actually has taken a few months in preparation. I was supposed to release this video a couple months back when I reached 4,000 subscribers. I had initially made some posts on social media and on YouTube just asking everyone for a bunch of questions that I can do in a potential Q&A video just to celebrate reaching 4,000 subscribers. But then things in my personal life got really busy and I ended up having no time to prepare this video, so I decided to push it back a couple months, specifically to today, to May. And the reason why is because, well, today is my birthday. So I decided to just kill two birds with one stone and have a birthday video and at the same time using it to celebrate 4,000 subscribers. So without further ado, let's start this happy birthday 4K Q&A video. So for my first set of questions, I'm going to answer questions that were given to me through the community post. First question comes from Renee Dune, and Renee asks, what is your favorite Japanese movie of all time? That is actually a very difficult question to answer. I think it really all depends on my mood. I think I break down my favorites in two different groups. One is what I generally think is the greatest movie, for me, as far as, hitting all the check marks when it comes to entertainment, from everything technical to all the performances. And then there's a favorite movie, which, it's a movie that I can just watch anytime, as many times, without even getting tired of it. So as far as the Japanese movie I consider my absolute favorite of all time, I would have to say Seven Samurai by Kurosawa Akira. And the reason why is it's one of the first Japanese movies that I was ever exposed to. My dad was a huge fan of the movie back when I was growing up, and I remember him putting the VHS on the TV, and I would catch a few glimpses here and there of the movie, but it was so long for me at the time. But it wasn't until that I was probably in university that I actually watched the entire movie, and I was in love. I was hooked on it from minute one. And it's one of those movies where I just, every time I go back to watch it, which isn't too many, admittedly, it's a pretty long movie, but every time I go back to watch it, I always find some new way to appreciate it. And as far as a Japanese movie, which I feel I can watch again and again without ever getting tired of it, I mean, there are a few of them, but the one that's at the top of my head right now, it's got to be Swing Girls, just because I absolutely love Yaguchi Shinobu. And I grew up playing music too, so this movie hit a lot of notes with its comedy, its kind of carefree and lighthearted personality, as well as just being centered around music. Next question is from Derek Harvey, and Derek asks, how are foreign actors treated in productions such as tokusatsu? Well, I haven't actually... I've worked with production crews before, but it's mostly been on indie productions. So as far as major productions are concerned, I'm not totally sure, with all honesty. But just judging from the amount of movies I've seen that feature foreign workers, I gotta say that they almost never get pushed onto main roles. When it comes to tokusatsu, when it comes to the titular group of heroes or what have you, the foreigners are almost never going to be featured in it. Now, this could be a little bit different, I guess, depending on how good your Japanese is, as well as how Japanese you look. And I don't want to dive too much on the cultural nuances as to why this thing actually happens, but just to simply answer your question, I think for the most part, they don't get put into the main roles. They get more put into supporting roles, if not stuntsmen or just background extras. Now, in some tokusatsu recently, there have been a few foreigners that have been pushed into main supporting roles, but never into the main group of heroes. I'm talking about tokusatsu more specifically. But then you have actors, like as I mentioned earlier, who are half Japanese, or not even Japanese, if they just look Japanese. So you look at, an actress that comes to mind is Mizuhara Kiko. She is not Japanese, not even half Japanese. I think she's like half Korean. And you have, for example, the Takahashi sisters, Takahashi Marijun and Takahashi Yu. They're half Japanese and half Filipino. But I think the reason why is because they're not actually regarded as foreigners, as the definition would have it. I think pretty much everyone kind of sees them as Japanese, whether or not, they're 100% Japanese or even have any Japanese blood in them. I think it also has to do with a lot of marketability. I hope that answers the question. I like I said, I haven't worked in any major productions, but just from observations, that's what I can kind of guess. Next, we have a few questions from Yudan Taiteki. And the first question Yudan asks is, what has been your worst slash odd slash interesting public transportation experience? Well, I gotta let you know, I think there has been a number of interesting experiences. Having to commute to and from Tokyo every day. If you come home from Tokyo on a given any given Friday, especially if it's towards the last string, you're bound to see a lot of drunk salarymen just passed out on the train seats or even on the floor. It's happened a few times. I remember there was one time though, I was catching the last train. I was on the Yamanote line, and for some reason there was like this section where people were just not standing in. They were kind of standing around. They were trying to avoid it, And I thought, oh, there's some open space right here. I'm going to board the train because everywhere else is full. And then I saw the reason why people were not standing in this area is because there was a whole puddle of vomit on the floor of the train. And the reason why is because, it's Friday night. All the salarymen are drunk and partying, and they're recuperating from it on the train. Another question by Yudan Taiteki says, what's the proper movie etiquette watching? And another question by Yudan Taiteki is, what's the proper movie watching etiquette in Japan? Like certain unsaid rules or taboos, will it be impossible to reserve a ticket for Avengers Endgame? Obviously with the context of this question came out way before Avengers Endgame came out. But when it comes to movie watching etiquette, first of all, everyone is quiet. As an American, we're so used, I think we're notoriously famous for just making a lot of noise in the movie theater, where it's whether it's laughing out loud, applause, giving applause or cheering. I think I've been made fun of many times by non-American friends as to you Americans, why do you clap at the end of a movie showing? Because we're excited, we want to show that it was a great show. For us it's kind of normalized, but to other countries it's definitely not. But to answer that first question, it's definitely stay as quiet as you possibly can, because the idea when you're watching a movie in the cinemas here is that you want to give everyone else a chance to listen to and understand, and therefore enjoy the movie going experience. And from what I understand, this particular etiquette isn't specifically Japanese, but this is one thing they definitely do hold at a high importance here. And to that second question, will it be impossible to reserve a ticket for Avengers Endgame? Speaking from experience, like, first of all, unlike the rest of the world, Avengers Endgame pre-sale tickets weren't available until about 3 days before screen times were announced. And that's the way movie reservation tickets here are in Japan. It's like, there aren't really months ahead of time pre-order sales. It's more like 2 or 3, I won't say 2 days before the day that the movie comes out, or before the day that you want to watch the movie. That's when pre-sale tickets are available to purchase. And I remember I organized with a couple friends to watch Avengers Endgame on opening day, and it was around, I want to say, like 7 o'clock in the morning when I remembered, oh yeah, it's tickets for Avengers Endgame should be available. I should get to organizing it and reserving. And I saw that at the theater that I wanted to watch at, that nearly all the good seats were taken up. This is at 7 o'clock in the morning, 2 days before. And the only seats that were available were seats on the very front, on the very side. So me and my friends, we decided to look up a kind of a smaller theater that was in the smaller part of Tokyo, because the theaters that I personally like to go to, my favorite theater is in the middle of Shinjuku, and that's definitely one of the busiest theaters in all of Tokyo. Oh, speaking of which, Yudan Taiteki also asked another question: do you have a favorite movie theater location? Yes, I do, and it's going off of what I was talking about earlier, it's actually in Shinjuku. The name of the theater is Shinjuku Vol 9. It's like towards the south side of Shinjuku Station, going towards Shinjuku Gyoen. And the reason why I like it, well, first of all, it's pretty close to Shinjuku Station. Shinjuku is my workstation, so after work I could just go over to Shinjuku Vol 9 and enjoy a movie. And the great thing about not only this theater but many theaters all across Tokyo is that they have certain times of the day where they have discount pricings. And I don't know if you guys ever watched a movie theater in Japan. It's pretty expensive. Just for one ticket at any given time, it's about 1,800 yen. And so that's why when it comes to watching movies, I try to hit up the discount times. And some movie theaters, the discount times are like the very last show of the night, and it goes from 1,800 yen to 1,300 yen, and that's it's 500 yen discount. That's pretty big. But when it comes to the discount times of Shinjuku Vault 9, it's between 5:30 p.m. to 7 o'clock p.m. That's like any movie that starts within that time window is going to get that 1,300 yen price. And that's perfect for me because it's right after work. So right after work, I can just mosey on down to the theater and enjoy a movie at a discount price. And it's pretty convenient. And Yudan Taiteki asks again, I think it's the last question from him, explain your large accumulation of plushies. Well, this is actually a small amount of what I've accumulated through my time living here in Japan. I've actually given away quite a lot of plushies to my niece and nephews over time. But needless to say, yeah, I'm a pretty big Pokemon fanatic. Like I said, this collection was a lot more over the course of the past few years living in Japan. I think it really, really blew up after moving into the Tokyo area from where I used to live. I used to live in the countryside for about 5 years, and back in Kyushu, Nagasaki Prefecture. And afterwards, I moved here to Tokyo, and that's when I had easier access to just buy plushies from not only Akihabara and Nakano Broadway, but also even just the Pokemon Center. There are like, I don't know, three Pokemon centers within my direct vicinity, and so it's really easy to accumulate this kind of stuff. Next up, we have a few questions from Sita Pratiwi. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing it, but the first question is, what keeps you going on posting? Because usually it's low on views and comments, except for popular movies. I don't know if other movie review channels is also like this or not, and what is the goal with this channel? Yeah, that's a good question. I'm often asked this by pretty much everyone. Why do I keep posting? I don't have a big subscriber base. Like I said, we're celebrating 4,000 subscribers here, and for me it's pretty big. But the reason I keep going on and posting is because not many people talk about Japanese movies. At first when it was Jason and I, we thought that not many people talk about Asian movies as a whole. There are a few YouTubers out there, and of course, there are countless review websites out there who produce written content that are excellent. But when it came to YouTubers, we saw that it was a hole that needed to be filled. Plus, we took our own love and passion for East Asian cinema. And that's why we decided to make, well, at the time, Asian films. Now, ever since Jason has left, it's just been me, Eiga-Man Ray. And the reason I keep on posting, because, I just want to talk about it. I love watching movies in Japan in the theater. And I just, I need an outlet. I always need an outlet to just talk about it. And I feel like talking on YouTube is a lot more fun and fulfilling than actually just writing it out. And the ultimate goal of this channel is, is to find a community of other folks who love Japanese movies, as well as, just keep the conversation going. Because a lot of folks, they only know the popular movies, like, what you hinted in your question, but they might know some of the smaller movies or some of the direct-to-DVD movies that are like the so bad that they're good kind of movies. Not a lot of movies get a lot of playtime with a lot of the YouTubers, and that's something I definitely want to hype up more in the future. And Sita Pratiwi has a second question that says, have you ever watched Shunji Iwai's Love Letter and Hannah and Alice? If not, you should. I have seen Hannah and Alice. I'm not sure if I've seen Love Letter. I've seen an assortment of Iwai Shunji's movies, and I definitely have seen Hannah and Alice and also the anime movie sequel. But I can't remember if I watched Love Letter, but let me watch it again if it could turn into a possible review in the future. All right, next up, I'm gonna pull up questions from our Discord server, and from Discord, the first question I'm gonna answer is from William Margos, and William says, "Congratulations on your YouTube milestone." Thank you. I am a new subscriber, and I would like to know where I can watch newly released Japanese movies online legally. English subtitled preferred, kind of like a Netflix for Japanese or Asian movies. Does such a thing exist? Well, this is kind of a hard question to answer, just because when it comes to watching movies online legally, well, I know where you can purchase DVDs. I know Eric from the Asian Movie Enthusiast always talks about where you can watch movies or where you can purchase movies. That's one thing I really enjoy about watching Eric's content, is that he always mentions where you can pick up a DVD or where you can watch a DVD legally. However, me personally, since I don't actually look out for Japanese movies specifically with English subtitles, this is going to be kind of an unfair answer for me. But one thing I have noticed, this won't actually solve the English subtitle dilemma. However, if you have Netflix and you have a VPN, you can actually access the Japanese Netflix library from the comfort of your home. All you have to do is just use your VPN and log into a Japanese server, and then afterwards you log into your Netflix account. Then lo and behold, you'll find out that you'll have access to the Japanese Netflix library. And I actually kind of learned about this when I was traveling back home to the US and I wanted to watch something on Netflix. And when I popped open Netflix, I realized I had access to the US library. And I thought, wow, that's pretty damn cool. So I actually have a VPN too, because I'm kind of paranoid about my online privacy, right? And so while I was in the States, I used it to log into a Japanese server, and there, my access to the Japanese Netflix library was available. But one thing, if you have Hulu, this doesn't work on Hulu. And I know this because when I was out of the Japan and in the US, I tried to watch some movies off of Hulu, but it basically says that because I have my account is a Japanese account, I won't be able to watch Hulu outside of the country, and that's pretty unfortunate. But Netflix lets you access it, wherever you are, so long as you use a VPN. And Netflix, from what I understand, does have a small selection of Asian movies. I'm not sure actually how big outside of Japan, to be honest, because I never actually searched through the whole thing. All right, next we have Eric, the Asian movie enthusiast. He says, "Congratulations, thanks. Here are some questions. Number one, what do you think? Do you think you will ever do a Blu-ray and DVD collection video at some point?" And to answer that question, the answer is most likely not, just because I actually don't have any DVDs, just because I'm 100% digital when it comes to my movie watching experience, and that means Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime. The only time I actually have to go and use DVDs as a form of media to enjoy movies is when I go to the DVD rental store. The DVD rental business is still a big industry here in Japan, unlike back in the States where blockbusters are pretty much all decimated, basically, except for one. There's like one last blockbuster surviving in the country. But here in Japan, the DVD rental industry is still alive and it's not going to go away. So thankfully, there is a DVD rental shop just outside of my home station. So if I wanted to look up some old movies that aren't on Netflix or Hulu or on Amazon Prime, and if I needed to rewatch it in order to make a review, then I would just go to the DVD rental shop. And the second question from Eric is, what is your favorite Japanese beer? Without a doubt, my favorite Japanese beer is Sapporo. I don't know what it is about Sapporo. Sapporo is just tasty to me. It's like the most delicious one. I would say number two is probably Asahi. Asahi is really kind of like this. I wouldn't say the standard when it comes to Japanese beers here. You can find Asahi in pretty much every izakaya, every pub here in Japan. And then number three, I would say Kirin. Kirin is pretty good, but amongst all the Japanese beers, the one at the very bottom of my list, it's got to be Ebisu. I don't know. I just don't feel Ebisu. Ebisu for me is, I don't know, it's not that good. But number one is definitely Sapporo. Number three, what are your thoughts on Bandmade? I think Bandmade is a band which I need to learn about more. Eric, I've been seeing all your content as far as you go and making the trip cross country to go to Bandmade concerts. That definitely got me interested. But as far as music is concerned, I don't actually listen to Bandmade, let alone listen to many Japanese artists at all. I think if anything, the artists that I have been listening to recently, there's One Ok Rock. One Ok Rock is a band which I just haven't stopped listening to. And then recently there's Yonezu Kenshi, who's been getting pretty big. He contributed the theme song to the Japanese movie what's it called? Nobody? I think that's what the English name is called. Or is it Anybody? Somebody. That's what it's called. Somebody. And he also did the male vocal part in the theme song to the anime movie Fireworks. So he is blowing up really nicely here, and I'm glad to say that I've been following him from when he was not really well known to where he is now. But as far as Bandmade is concerned, I just need to listen more. Next up from Discord, we have Ice, and he asks, is there a movie you watched more than 10 times? Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, Swing Girls, I definitely watched that more than 10 times, but there are a number of other movies which I definitely have watched more than 10 times. Tampopo is another one. A lot of movies by Itami Juzo. I just love watching over and over again. What else? The Ring, the original Ring. I watched that more than 10 times. What else is there? You know, a bunch of other random superhero movies like Hentai Kamen. Definitely watched that more than 10 times. Yeah, there are a number of them, but I'd say the one I probably watched the most over and over again is probably Swing Girls. And Ice follows up with, if there is, what is it, and did you and why did you watch it that much or like it? And the reason why I like it is because, you know, like I mentioned earlier, it's about music, and I love Ueno Juri, and I love Yaguchi Shinobu, and it was just a match made in heaven. And the subject matter, you know, it's something that I absolutely love and hold dear to my heart. Do you by chance watch it regularly or annually by chance? I don't know. It's kind of more like if I want something kind of easy in the background while I do work, or if I'm just being lazy. All right, sometimes I might have a movie playing while I play games in the background, and Swing Girls would definitely be that. The next question asker from Discord is Sparkster, and Sparkster asks, congratulations on reaching 4,000 subscribers. You earned it. Thank you. What movie is your guilty pleasure? Well, see, this is a fun question too. I want to go outside of Japan a little bit. I want to say the movie that's my guilty pleasure is the Street Fighter movie that stars Jean-Claude Van Damme. And I know it's terribly bad, but I just can't stop watching. You know, if I were to answer the question earlier, you know, what movie have you watched more than 10 times, you know, and shifted more towards a Hollywood kind of setting, I definitely would say Street Fighter is one of those movies. And one reason why it's my guilty pleasure, well, first of all, I love the Street Fighter series of games. I haven't been really big into Street Fighter recently, but, you know, growing up, I absolutely love Street Fighter 2. And as I watched Street Fighter, the movie, in the theaters actually, and at the time I was so brainwashed with my love for Street Fighter that I actually thought I enjoyed it, you know, but I came to enjoy Street Fighter the movie in different kinds of ways as an adult. But, you know, yeah, I would say, yeah, my guilty pleasure is definitely Street Fighter. You know, as a matter of fact, I like a lot of bad video game movie adaptations, you know, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, the Super Mario Brothers movie, Double Dragon. They're all pretty bad, but I can't stop watching them. Next up, we have Busty Walls, and Busty Walls says, when did you first discover your love for film? You know, I want to say I discovered my love for film when I was in university, actually. You know, growing up until university, you know, throughout high school, I just watched movies just for the sake of watching movies. I think being, you know, coming from the U.S. and coming from an area, a community that just loves pop culture, just movie going, it was just a regular thing. But when it actually came to when I first discovered that I loved this, it was probably university, during university, when, you know, taking some of my first film and literature classes. You know, it was when just hearing the professor breaking down movies as far as what each scene, what each character meant, and then challenging us to do so. That's when I realized how much I loved the medium. Another question by Busty Walls is also, what was the first East Asian / foreign film you watched, and what's your favorite anime? Lol. Well, okay, the very first East Asian foreign film I watched, well, as I mentioned earlier, you know, the first thing I was exposed to was probably The Seven Samurai. But the first movie that I watched in whole that was originally from East Asia was King Kong versus Godzilla. And that was the very first Godzilla movie I watched. And that's the movie that hooked me into Godzilla. For many of you guys, for those of you who don't know, I'm a big Godzilla fan. I've seen every movie more than 5 times. Even the bad American Godzilla that featured Zilla. Yeah, I watched it a lot of times. That's another guilty pleasure too. But yeah, the very first movie I watched in its entirety from Japan has got to be King Kong versus Godzilla. And my favorite anime, I haven't watched anime a lot recently, to be honest, but I'm more of an old school kind of dude. But if you were to ask me, and if you were to ask me 15 years ago, Ray, what was my favorite anime? It's got to be, you know, Cowboy Bebop is up there, Ranma 1/2 is up there, but definitely Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. That's probably, from what I can recall off the top of my head, my absolute favorite anime. I think that's it from all the questions that you guys have provided me. Now, I want to take this opportunity next to answer just some, you know, kind of generally answer some of the questions that you guys leave in comments in various videos. You know, the first of which is, where can I watch this movie? You know, a lot of you folks, whenever a new movie comes out in the theaters, you always ask, hey, where can I watch this video? Where can I watch this video online? How can I watch this movie for free? And the question I always answer you guys, and the answer I'm going to give you guys today is, I check it out in the movie theaters. That's where I always watch all the new movies. I actually love going to movie theaters as often as I can. So yeah, the answer is definitely I just check it out at the movie theaters. And if not at the movie theaters, I either watch it on Japanese Netflix, Japanese Hulu, or just go up to the DVD rental shop. I noticed a number of you guys also asked me about my ethnicity. You guys asked, are you Filipino? And the answer is, yeah, I'm Filipino American. I don't consider myself Filipino just because I was born and raised in the U.S. and I have a different set of ideas and upbringings from someone actually from the Philippines, although I do still maintain some of my Filipino heritage. But yes, to answer that question, yeah, I'm definitely Filipino. And I think that's all the questions that you guys have provided me. I apologize if I didn't answer the question that you left. If I haven't answered your question, just leave a comment below and I'll be glad to answer it. And yeah, I just want to take this opportunity again to thank you guys for 4,000 subscribers. I hope to continue this growth and eventually reach 5,000, 6,000, 10,000, 20,000. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'll try to do my best and keep producing content, keep talking about Japanese movies for you guys to enjoy. Thanks, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And by all means, don't forget, if you really enjoy my content, you can always support Eiga-Man Ray via Patreon from as little as $1. And that's about it for me, guys. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and hope to catch you all again in the next video. Take it easy.